a news program from a Native perspective. Whether it's a flagpole raising or whether it's an elders conference, if it's important to the people, and I make a story out of it, this is the most exciting, wonderful, fun time of my life. Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska. I'm Jeannie Green.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to care?
Hello everyone and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News, Native Information. Today we travel to, and I know I say this almost every single program, to one of the most beautiful villages in Alaska. How can I miss with Nanwalek? This program is a story of strength and endurance and of people that just will not quit. I'll be back with Nanwalek, Alaska right after this.
From home we love Heartbeat Alaska.
For more than 50 years, Frontier Flying Service has been your connection to rural Alaska. Frontier Flying Service, a proud sponsor of Heartbeat Alaska.
Heartbeat Alaska chooses the Longhouse Hotel, the official hotel of Heartbeat Alaska. And this is where we choose to house our guests that come from all over the world to spend time with us. And this is where we hope you will choose to spend your time when you come to Anchorage. Choose the Longhouse Hotel, the official hotel of Heartbeat Alaska.
Hi, I'm Mark from Scan Home, and we are proud to sponsor Heartbeat Alaska.
Scan Home, serving all of Alaska's home and office furnishing needs. Thank you, Scan Home, for making Heartbeat Alaska possible.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Brown's Electric Lighting Gallery. Thank you, Brown's Electric, for your generous support of Heartbeat Alaska.
By the Nature Conservancy of Alaska, working with Alaska's rural communities to conserve and protect our natural heritage.
Welcome back. We travel now to Nanwalek, Alaska, situated in beautiful Prince William Sound. Now, this story is one that I absolutely treasure. It's a story of survival and prosperity and strength and unity. And in the end, strength of people in a village that just will not quit for anything. They thrive in this beautiful setting called Nanwalek. March 23rd, 1989, Bly Reef and the Ephin Valdez Oil Spill disaster. Over the next few days, the ruptured hull of the tanker would spill out millions of gallons of crude oil into the precious waters of the Prince William Sound, poisoning the fish and wildlife within its vast body of water. People in villages along the shores and waterways of the Sound soon would face the hardship and danger of losing a way of life they had depended on for their lives and survival. Rising up from the oil-drenched shores of the southern Kenai Peninsula, Nanwalek was one of the many villages that faced the worst losses of land and sea life, but still pressed on to hold fast and survive the disaster as a community. 13 years later, and many trials and tribulations as well, the oil is gone from sight, but not the strength of the people that call Nanwalek home.
I've been here for about 50-some years.
it's easy growing up here.
We just like hunt everything for survival.
You know, live as best as we could in an environment we know and how to, you know, take care of each other. It's beautiful.
Nanwalek rests at the end of the Kenai Peninsula, just south of Seldovia. A little over 200 people reside here year-round, living a subsistence lifestyle while pursuing various careers that range from commercial fishing to traditional art. The community survives and thrives as a family, and even with the many changes over the years, such as the internet and satellite TV, many feel life here still reflects the traditions they grew up with in the past.
Grew up here in the village, and you come down here on the end here where that river is and do some fishing. And in the winter, you know, ice fishing. A lot of things like subsistence fishing. A lot of people do that in the spring and the summertime.
The history of the village centers on the beach, originally being the site for a Russian trading post. The native word for that site means a person living in solitude. 2 churches have been built here, both Russian Orthodox, and the first in 1870, then the current one in 1931.
Living in a village like Nanwalek here, it's real, I'm comfortable with it because, you know, everybody knows everybody. We still have potlucks, you know, every time somebody has a name day or a birthday or something that comes up, and they have village-wide potluck dinner.
Most of the locals share the heritage of both native and Russian ancestry. By the turn of the century, the area had become known as English Bay, but in 1991, the residents voted to have it renamed Nanwalek, which means place by the lagoon. The common consent is that most truly love it here.
I love it. Myself, I love it because of the subsistence and whatever we can do in the spring. People are friendly and usually very friendly.
While many Native youth of the day are curious and anxious to see the outside world, the common bond among these kids is the love and affection for the land and love for their village.
You should come here. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of nice people, and we're basically friendly around here, so we'll treat you like one of our own, a family. We just like hunt everything for survival, and we've been taught how to survive since we were small.
Pretty fun. You get a lot. It's outdoors. You can have fun. There's freedom here, unlike in the city where you have to be in and isolated all the time.
You know, just learning from all the elders and everything before they go.
It's cool being a kid here. It's better than being raised in like a city.
A few of the youth have had the opportunity to live elsewhere, but returning to the village still feels like coming home.
I moved to Arizona for 3 years, just got back. It's great. It was tough being away from family and friends, people I grew up with. Just the friends and everything you do.
And even young newcomers to Nanwalek feel it too.
This is my first year in Anchorage. Like, I never got to learn about my culture and about how the way they lived and everything. And here, I get to speak my language, learn my language, understand it.
I think it's more peaceful here. It's more quiet. It means a lot for me, and it's pretty much where my culture came around from, and I don't know, I'm still learning about my culture and all that.
In Anchorage, it was like you had to be like a certain way to be a certain person, and here You don't have to be anybody. You don't have to act a certain way. You could just be yourself. And that's what I like.
One common fear among the youth is a possible loss of their traditional Alutiiq language.
Part of who we are, and it's our language.
No, they're still working with us, trying to keep the language going and just learning from all the elders and everything.
And what they're trying to do now is like get younger kids to like start speaking our language, which I think that's like a good thing.
The youth are not alone in their concern for loss of their native tongue, but the solution is already taking place. When we return, we'll see how the village of Nanwalek is taking its native language and the culture and integrating it into the learning system in their schools, starting with the youngest citizens of that community.
Heartbeat wishes to thank Hagelin Aviation Services Incorporated for making our stories possible. We travel on Hagelin Aviation and we thank you for choosing them too. Hagelin Aviation has been serving Alaskans in the bush for over 20 years.
We fly Hagelins all the time.
Operating with 29 aircraft at 8 stations across Alaska and servicing over 100 destinations daily. Hagelin Aviation, your ticket to ride in rural Alaska.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Junior.
From generation to generation, the passing down of tradition has been the native way.
You never eat snow because it'll get you tired.
Survival in the Alaska wilderness depends on one's knowledge of ancient native secrets.
Nowadays we carry this. Always carry it next to your body. It's water.
Purity guaranteed. Aquafina. They do architectural engineering. They design, they survey. John Larson and his crew at Larson Consulting Group know how to work in rural Alaska.
Like this is the best foundation system being built.
They're native owned and managed. They do design, supply housing, and they support Heartbeat Alaska. Thank you, Larson Consulting Group, for your support.
For years, many in Nanwalek were deeply concerned about the slow loss of their culture's language, with more and more generations speaking English almost entirely. This could only go so far before people began to step in and take charge of this problem. After visiting an immersion program in Bethel 6 years ago, Sally Ash and her teaching partner joined forces with the local school to begin their own brand of immersion with its youngest members, the preschoolers.
I used to teach at the school for about 13 years, and I noticed that in school they only gave us 45 minutes a day for each class to be taught in the language, and so I sort of got tired of just 45 minutes and started thinking we have to start from the bottom up, and we all got together and we said, yes, let's do it. I think the first thing they learned last year was, first after 3 days, was go wash your hands. Go, everybody, they'd run and go wash their hands. That was pretty funny. I get so happy because they want their kids to learn, but they're the ones that have kind of missed out in the kind of the deteriorating language. So they want to push their kids as much as they can. And so we're happy with that. They send their kids, when they go home, they ask them questions, about school, what they learned, and the kids will, go home singing songs.
Pride in culture begins with the use of language, and giving those youngsters the ability to speak their native tongue is a strong and positive force.
A lot of it was music and just speaking the language. parents helped us move things, and we borrowed, and people donated from homes, which was really nice. You know, papers and pencils if we need any toys. We try to encourage the grandparents to come, and when they come, to sit with the children, eat with them, and tell, you know, talk to them. But we wanted to keep, get more like certified teachers into this, because neither Rhoda or I are not certified, but we, you know, take classes and stuff, and we just know the language, and we're doing a lot of kind of baby talk to these ones, but bring them up as they get going. They're doing pretty good, you know. We're proud of them, and you know, they're doing good.
People need to look at that Sixton immersion program, and you know, it's a grassroots program, and they're struggling. They've made it their own. They've built it up, and they need all the support they can get. One of the biggest reasons that I wanted to get involved and work with the corporation is to be an example that you know, you can set your goals and accomplish things, and you know, do whatever it is that you put your mind to.
Sheri Buretta keeps direct ties to the village, which is a member of her corporation. Part of her job is looking to help steer the youth closer to their dreams and plans for the future.
What you see yourself doing when you get out of school, you know, what are your aspirations, what are your goals, so that we can maybe help talk about different ways to achieve those goals and different ways that the corporation might be able to help in the future. I really appreciate the opportunity to come out here and visit them and you know, work with them through Anchorage and giving them different opportunities to look at for education and training.
Part of the mission of Chugach Alaska Corporation is to empower the youth who are members of the corporation with furthering their education. They do this by offering financial support to pay for the college and technical schools, further enriching their lives and those in their community as well.
I think the biggest opportunity that we can provide is education and jobs, providing for your, you know, there's always dividends. People like to get dividends, but the real benefit is jobs, you know, getting an education. And
high schoolers in Nanwalek also have the opportunity to take advantage of great programs for college education and internships with Chugach Alaska Corporation.
We not only pay for your school through UAA or APU, but you get experience on the job at the corporation, working 20 hours a week. We pay you for 40 hours a week plus your school. But the idea is that you'll give that back to the corporation in your abilities.
In the end, the decision is up to the individual whether or not to pursue a higher education that would stake a claim on a chosen field or career.
Attorney, all right. Maybe you guys could go into business together. That's great.
Careers come in many forms, and some who have decided to stay in the village have found artistic ways to support themselves and preserve their heritage as well. When we return, we'll meet with the artists of this beautiful community that call it home, and we'll meet with one of the artists that they call Chief.
Heartbeat, Alaska. My name is Sally Ash. We're in Nanwalek. We'll be right back.
Aviation. It's knowing how to make distances seem shorter. The art of buying you time. The business of bringing people together. And another reason to look up. Era Aviation. This is our sky.
While the young still weigh their options for their future and careers, others in the village have already shifted into areas long accepted as good traditional roles for residents here. The rich native tradition of art is as strong to the spirit of the community as subsistence is to the diet of its people. Nick Tanape is a 40-year resident and local artist that works hard to continue the Alutiiq traditions of wood and bone carving in Nanwalek.
As long as I can remember, going back into 40s, and it's been a little village, and a lot of people make their own stuff.
The tools and supplies used by the artists come from the land around them, and many times the ocean.
We were down to our last piece of wood, and I think we were kind of saying, who's gonna use the last piece? And then the storm blew up. Next morning, we got all the wood we needed, the yellow and the red cedar down there. And we got some help to bring it up here. Now we got supplies to last us years.
The art of masking is a long and ancient practice, changing many shapes over the years between the first peoples and the coming of the Russians and their Orthodox Church, combining elements from both histories.
We tried to duplicate the masks they used years ago, from like the salmon mask and stuff. That we don't want to use them either, because we don't want to get rid of them. If we did use them, we'd have to burn them and nobody would be able to see them. The hats up there, something like this here, traditional Alutiiq bentwood visor, painted with geometric design, decorated with ivory, baleen, feathers, and trade beads, honor the spirits and transform the wearer into a mighty hunter, capable of braving the ocean and its danger. It also hid his human identity from prey.
Each mask takes on a different face and meaning.
It's a raven and a man behind it. Could be anybody. When I'm done with it, I'll find out whose name I put in it.
Part of the tradition of this artist is to pass down the skills he has learned to the next generation of carvers.
I have the most fun teaching the kids anywhere. Any place I'm called, I'm always there teaching. Especially here in Nanwalek, whatever. I've been teaching quite a bit with Shukstun language there, naming off some certain parts, like your scissors and stuff, you name it, whatever you use in certain tools, if I know it. But then I learn more from kids and books too.
You know, John Johnson, I've been pushing my...
Well, we have a few people come in, oh, I like this work, so they start looking into it, and then they get hooked into it. Like I got one student here, Emily. She's been stuck with me for so many years now.
This student is not only a budding artist, but a strong force in the village as well. Emily Swenning is a 35-year-old chief of Nanwalek and takes pride and inspiration in the community she heads, which shows in her artwork.
At the beginning, it was really hard.
The beauty of Nanwalek and surrounding areas takes shape in her artwork.
Quite a few people are studying and reproducing the old Chugach art. It's beautiful. It's a good place to raise children because everybody's family here.
Chosen by her people to represent them, Emily draws on their strength to help lead the community of Nanwalek.
What I believe is I have a lot of people who support me, and the main thing I think about being a chief is to, listen whether you agree with the ideas or not, and try to be as fair with everybody, not not what can I get out of being a chief. It's what can we do to make it better for all of us.
Emily is a big supporter of the immersion classes in the public schools and is very impressed with results here in Nanwalek.
And a wonderful immersion program, and we're getting new tribal office and a little local display facility and new classrooms for both the immersion and the Head Start program. And the nice thing about the immersion program too is that we'll be able to have, documentation of the history, the language. Nobody could ever take it away because it's ours, it came from our people, and it's always going to be there.
Others from the outside seem to find no end to the beauty of the land site that these people have called home for nearly 2 centuries.
You just look around and it's beautiful. It's a wonderful place. It's just so full of life and spirit. The spirit camp and its cost. It's the best part of my job coming out here, is being with these people. We've got 2 successful graduates